Hi, how you doing?
I can't believe you remember our special handshake.
I know, I can't believe that they're already here.
That means it's time to start the show. Hi. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Link Show.
I loved our special handshake. It took me a little while to learn the right things to do to be able to do it properly, but now that I remembered it, I am all sorted.
Buckle, did you remember to do that other thing?
What other thing?
The mail?
Sending the mystery item. I did. It's okay. We just have to wait until Walter's here. Okay, so Isla, I've sent you something a little bit different for this week. Open it up, take a look, and see if you can figure it out.
Okay.
So that's the craft. It says God's Love Code, and it has lots of words on love hearts. We'll come back to that a little later on. And now let's have a look at the mystery item to see if you can figure out what it means.
Is this an instruction manual?
It says instruction manual, and it has a picture of a person on the front. Do you know why I sent you a person instruction manual?
No.
Ooh, well, how about we go check out today's preach, see if we can figure it out. Okay, so I wonder if you've ever been given some rules to follow, whether you're at home with your parents or at school with your teachers. I remember there were some rules that were given to me while I was growing up that I have remembered forever. So let's go through some of them and see if you've heard them as well. Rule number 1, don't run with scissors. Have you ever heard of that before? Because if you run with scissors, you might hurt yourself if you trip over. So I think that's a pretty good rule. Here's another rule. If you're playing sports or you're playing with a ball, don't play on or near the road. Because if you're playing near the road, you might get hurt. Here's a third rule that you might have heard before. If you're at the snow, the rule is don't eat the yellow snow. I wonder why the snow would be yellow. Here's one more rule that I always follow. When I'm in the car, I put on my seatbelt. Now, those rules that I've shared, we've got don't run with scissors, don't play near the road, don't eat the yellow snow, and always wear a seatbelt. Do you think those rules are there to wreck your fun? Are those rules there so that you don't have fun? Or are those rules there so that you are safe while you're having fun? Because it's fun to use scissors when we're making crafts. For me, it's fun to play sports. I love kicking a football with my friends. I love going to the snow and building snowmen and tobogganing down the hill. And I love going for drives with my friends because we get to go places like to the movies or to the shops. You see, those rules aren't there to stop you from having fun. The rules are actually there so that you can have fun and do it safely. You see, sometimes the rules in our lives are there to help us to live a good life. And so a little later on, we're actually going to take a look at a story in the Bible when God gave the Israelites and Moses some rules to follow. Now, some people think that these rules are bossy rules and they're there to stop you from having fun. They're actually there to help us to live a good life and do it safely. And so we're going to take a look at the rules that God gave the Israelites, and we're also going to see how those rules can help us to live a good life today as well. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. Isla, I love what you've done with this week's craft. Can you show us where we're up to? Because there's another step once we've done this.
First, what I did when I coloured in all of the hearts in red, but one of them that says loves God in a fun little peach.
I do love that. And then the
I
cloud?
did the words, and I tried to do 2 different blues, but
It didn't really show up, but I still think it's pretty cool. Now, this is only half finished. What we do now is we need to cut out the cloud and cut out all of the love hearts. And what we're going to do is use like crepe paper to glue all of these so that they're hanging under the cloud. And so it might look a little bit like this, which is pretty cool. But you know what else is pretty cool?
looking at their arts and crafts.
Looking at your arts and crafts. So if you do this or any of our other crafts, make sure you get your teacher, your leader, or your kids' pastor to take a photo, and they can email them to us here at The Link Show with the email in the description of this video.
cool story. Buckle, will you read it for us this time?
Absolutely. Say hello to Moses, one of the champions of the Bible, and God had chosen Moses to rescue the Israelite people from Egypt. And although the Pharaoh of Egypt didn't want to let them go, God did a miracle and rescued them all. And so now Moses and the Israelites are traveling through the desert, and God was with them. During the day, God appeared as a pillar of cloud, and at night, he appeared as a pillar of fire. And after traveling for about 3 months, they came to a mountain called Mount Sinai. And so they set up camp, and Moses went up the mountain to meet with God. God spoke to Moses at the top of the mountain all about the future of the Israelites and reminded him of the miracles that God had performed. There was thunder and lightning and clouds covering the top of the mountain. And then the people heard a loud trumpet blast. And Moses tried to lead the people to the base of the mountain so that they could meet with God too. God told Moses the way that he wanted the Israelites to live, and he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. The people could see that God has spoken to Moses and that God had a plan for their future. Now, I love this story because God and Moses, they're on the mountain. God is there. He's present. The people are looking up in the mountain and there's thunder and there's lightning. It's like, wow, God is here. And so God gives Moses the 10 Commandments. But you see, those aren't rules to wreck their fun. They're rules to help keep them safe. For example, one of the rules is put God first. You need to love God. Another rule is don't hurt other people. Another rule is don't take other people's things. Don't steal things. You see, those rules are there to help us live a good life. And I love in the Bible when Jesus was on earth, one of the religious leaders came to Jesus and he was trying to trick Jesus. And he said, Jesus, there's all of these rules that we have to follow. What do you think is the most important? And Jesus answers this. He says, there's 2 rules that you need to follow. Number 1, you need to love God. You need to put God first. And rule number 2 is you need to love other people. We need to love God and we need to love other people. And then Jesus says, if you do those 2 things, all the other rules will fit in as well. Because if you love someone else, you're not going to steal from them. If you love someone else, you're not going to hurt them. And so for us, the thing I want us to remember, the thing I want us to do is to remember this, that God gave us the 10 Commandments to help us live a good life, but also to remind us that we need to always love God and put Him first, and we need to love other people. Now, that means not just loving our friends, but it also means the people that we don't like, we still need to show love to them as well. And so for me, I'm going to do my best to always love God and to love other people, and I hope that you choose to do the same as well.
Buckle, why'd you send me an instruction manual with a person on it?
Good question. That's because today we learnt that God gave us the commandments so that we would know the best way to live, just like an instruction manual tells you the right way to do things. But hopefully you were paying attention. Guess what it's time for?
The Bible quiz!
That's right, the Bible quiz. So the way this is going to work is I'll ask you a question from the story today and give you 2 possible answers. If you think the first answer is correct, put your hands on your
head.
And if you think the second answer is correct, put your hands on your
shoulders.
Here we go with question number 1. In the story today, God gave Moses the commandments. Where did that happen? Was it on top of a mountain or in the ocean? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, what do you think the answer is?
Was it on top of a mountain?
It was on top of a mountain. Good job. I'm sure you all got that one correct. This one's a little more difficult. What was the name of the mountain? Was it Mount Everest or was it Mount Sinai? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, what do you think the answer is?
Was it Mount Everest?
No, tough one. It was actually Mount Sinai, but that's all right. That was a tough question. It's okay if you got it wrong, but I know you'll get the last one right. Question number 3, how many commandments did God give to Moses? Were there 10 or were there 20? You've got 5 seconds. Isla, do you know the answer?
Was it 10?
It was 10 commandments. Good job. How many of those questions did you get correct? But Isla, I had so much fun learning today that God has a great plan for our lives if we follow the commandments.
No worries. I love when you come. And next week.
I know next week we're going to be looking at another amazing Bible story. There'll be another craft and another Bible quiz. I can't wait to see you then. Bye.
Bye.